Here to introduce Joe Steier is Tanya York Dees, president and owner of York Management, an event and business strategy company. Before starting her own business, she served in a variety of positions with Greater Louisville, Inc. There, she headed the Center for Small Business, working with small and medium-sized privately owned businesses, as well as corporate service providers and partners. She's also been involved with numerous civic and charitable activities throughout her career. Please welcome Tanya to the microphone.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to be here this evening celebrating entrepreneurship and those that we are honoring tonight, especially my dear friend Joe Steier. Just to really start out with showing what an underachiever he is, Joe is a lifelong Louisvillian who earned his bachelor's degree at Bellarmine. He went on to earn an executive MBA from the University of Miami. And if that wasn't enough, he went on to earn a master's and doctorate of education from the University of Pennsylvania Wharton School of Business. My almost 30-year friendship with Joe started at a time when being an entrepreneur, which we are very proudly celebrating tonight, wasn't really understood by everyone and was not as widely celebrated. We bonded over an interest in trying to change that in any way we could. I was then with the Louisville Chamber of Commerce, what was then called the Louisville Chamber of Commerce, now Greater Louisville, Inc., running the Center for Small Business. And along with several other committed CEOs in town, including Doug Cobb, who's one of the honorees this evening, we really set out to encourage entrepreneurship and growth company CEOs. And at that time, Joe really epitomized and pushed entrepreneurship before it was understood. I think before he even understood it. He was pushing it and living it. For those of you who know Joe, you know that he talks way more quickly than any of us can understand. And for the record, back then he talked twice as fast. Even then, he was bursting with his trademark energy and enthusiasm. He wore an Indiana Jones-style hat. For those of you who knew him and remember that hat. He never slept because I don't think he requires sleep like the rest of us. And he already had multiple businesses under his belt. His list of personal, charitable, and entrepreneurial achievements is very long, but I'm going to touch on a few of them that are important to Joe this evening. He first created a cool comedy wake-up company that actually made Inc. magazine. Any of you remember that wake-up company? It would give you wake-up calls from folks. While he was working full-time at Coopers & Lybrand as a CPA, at the same time, a group of us were starting our very first charitable endeavor to raise money to help the homeless in Louisville, which actually made it to the Today Show. He rebuilt his grandfather's neighborhood tavern, the Golden Nugget in Hikes Point, with great partners, and it was named Maxim's Best Bar in the U.S. He acquired Berno's Pizza with one of his best friends, childhood friends, and his friend's father, and they actually are celebrating 25 years together in business still this year. I think a lot of us have had a few Berno's pizzas. I also remember him introducing tuxedo delivery to the florist industry and starting his own real estate firm that his beautiful and amazing wife, Sonny, is actually running very successfully and doing a great job with now for the past few decades. And Joe actually did all of these side jobs while working a very demanding corporate job, which he took. He was with Vencor after that. And then he founded a healthcare consulting firm with one of his dear mentors, George Freibert, and actually went on to become a full-time entrepreneur. Took that step out. Then he left Kentucky for nearly a decade, moving to southern Florida and building a very successful healthcare turnaround company there, which then led into him founding Signature Healthcare, which then, as you know, has grown into one of the best post-acute organizations in the U.S. He shares the success very openly with coworkers and leaders, many of whom are here tonight, said he cannot do it without them. Then, with his board's support, Joe decided to move the Signature Healthcare quarters from southern Florida to Louisville about 8 years ago, at a time when corporate jobs were very needed here. His company turned 10 years old last week in a very volatile healthcare world, as we know. Joe still champions entrepreneurship, which is one of his 3 pillars at Signature, where they continue to spin out new and innovative companies on a regular basis with various CEO partners in the crowd tonight. Joe believes that this shows that during, and these are his words, the brutal health headwinds in the healthcare industry today, that you can still be true to your passion, knowing that on many days it can be a lonely walk, but that the road less traveled is still a great journey. He also had a collective dream with others here tonight to help build an aging care cluster for the city of Louisville that we all championed last month with the ribbon cutting and opening of the Thrive Center down in the Nulu district, again, which he co-founded with one of his childhood friends, John Reinhardt. And I found a letter that Joe had written to me 23 years ago, and even then, his mission was the same as it is today. It was to create jobs, make a difference for his family, to make a difference for his community, and use his God-given talents to help others. Please welcome my dear friend, Joe Steier.
I think I got in because I give a fast speech. And I used to joke around Mom's an auctioneer, bless her soul. But, what's so cool tonight about being here is entrepreneurship. I'm 51. And back then it was dark. I was working at day jobs where I would sneak away to Kinko's at night, wear sunglasses, making copies. I'd be scared to get fired. I worked at a firm where, in the old days, I was on Business First front page. I go to work early and hid the papers so they wouldn't see it. Because back then we were at lifetime employment. And just to see the sign tonight, we're going to celebrate that. And Doug, I think about you all the time. Honestly, I go back to my childhood. You and Tanya were the first two that got me thinking differently. That said it's okay. And that okay, that walk's a painful walk. Everybody agree? It's a painful walk. But today, why America's going to win and why we're going to win this country is because of the spirit of entrepreneurship. There was always great owners. There was always great stakeholders. But there wasn't the mid-spot in between. And I look back tonight, all these great pioneers that got in the Hall of Fame. When you get it, you don't think you deserve it because people are way bigger than you. And the people that are on that list are just people I revere and I almost worship. I hate to say that, but they were just big people to me that did big things. I've had mentors. I worked with Bruce Lundstrom, one of the smartest guys ever. And you learned a lot. I'm like, Dave, I use your father today as one of my mentors. And so, your life's about all the mentors and lives you touch every day. And so when I feel the bad media every day and all the bad news, I don't believe it. I think we're still going to rise up and crush everybody in the world today because of entrepreneurship. When I walk in tonight, I got a little bit goosebumps because, I walked in tonight. This is, I'm 51. I apologize for being older. But I remember, and yes, weeks go by like years now, but I remember like being in a bar and telling a young girl I was an entrepreneur. You're like, what is that? And the word didn't even exist back then. And today, it's if you're young in this room and you're a young person, today you got everything, every dream is possible today. And when I moved back to Kentucky 8 years ago, I was down in Florida praying about it, and I felt like it was time to go home. I came to Commonwealth with I'll mentor anybody, I'll loan them seed capital, I'll take any phone calls. I remember what it was like to find somebody to take your phone call. Somebody might loan you $50,000, and I was a kid, made all the difference. And today, we maybe celebrate 10 years of Signature, or 25 years of Beer Nose. Everything we ever had, we held long term. We still own the gold nugget. We just don't sell stuff, honestly. But long term, we hold stuff because we believe in that partnership with the stakeholders and the leadership team. So today, I've got my amazing family here. And I want to thank my kids because my kids never seen me. And I know it's time to go home. They call me Joe. Because, I'm not that much. So I got to have my 4 beautiful kids stand up. Stand up, guys. I got Joseph, Jacqueline, Luke and Adam. And I was adopted. We had a lot of adopted cousins. My sister and brother adopted. I was St. Joe Catholic Charities. So I always had this longing to belong. And I dreamed of a big family. And my beautiful wife, Sonny, who runs our real estate company, does a great job with the family. And we dreamed of a big family. And at one point, I wanted to have 10 kids. I'm Catholic. But on my 40th birthday, she gave me a spa treatment. And that's all I got. So that's the number 4. And so today, I got to tell you that, I think we shouldn't watch all the media. We should realize that the Commonwealth's on fire. I came back 8 years ago, David. He flew to see me in Florida. 8 years ago, we said, we're going to come back to Kentucky. We're going to engage. I've been your board member of the Chamber. We're doing great work. The Chamber's winning national awards because of Chamber Day. So I want to thank the Chamber for not the event, but for celebrating entrepreneurship 24/7, all across state. And it wasn't that way years ago. And so Kentucky's going to be on fire the next 10 years. And it was great to come home and be part of that piece. So today I got my signature revolutionary team over there. Where's the revolutionary people? Stand up. Where's the people? And we recently celebrated 10 years. We're not sure we'll have 10 more. It's been tough, but joking. But we threw the biggest party ever for 10 years because healthcare is about as tough as you can get right now. I've got competitors going away. I got peers out Revere. We came home and everybody left Kentucky. And we doubled down 3 times. We got 4,100 jobs in Kentucky right now, 18,000 nationwide. And we said, you know what, we're going to stay in Kentucky and fight. If we fall on the sword for Kentucky, we will. Because we're going to fight till the end, and the revolution will live, fighting through that. I'm going to fight my team that's been here tonight, fighting that, the pillars, all my great friends and leaders. So today I decided that I would end with a poem. Who wants a poem? Okay, so very good. So, and so I think a poem, this morning I got up and I was like, how do you ever, everybody in this room's got blessings beyond our belief. And I think we all feel God every day and we feel the blessing we have. But how do you ever capture a moment like this? So I decided to write a poem. And I'm kind of a writer by training a little bit, so this poem's pretty good. And here we go. Sorry. It's called The Great Commonwealth Long Ago. Long ago, there was only one road to choose. I looked for a different path, but you had to be willing to lose. Long ago, there was only one way from the glimmering proverbial hall. When you tried to walk away, many hoped you might fall. Long ago, my bricklayer father left me with haunting words for sure, but I could never find the exact cure. Long ago, the starting point, in the beginning, your world would be definitely thinned, but at time, it was almost a cardinal sin. Long ago, there was no real books or formulas to follow. And when you stepped out, you better figure it out quick or you'd be swallowed. Long ago, I searched high and low for the keys to the spirited club and then realized we were all being snubbed. Long ago, there were pioneering owners who controlled the great big ball. But how could you respect them all and still have your call? Sorry, there's the lights up here, Ben. My fault. No, it's not the tears, I'm sorry. Thank you. Long ago, when lifetime jobs started to disappear, they came calling for all of us to all reappear. Today, the world that we look at is so different. Atlas is really struggling. Ayn Rand boldly predicted it'll be all of us who will make it corrected. Today, we are called here to celebrate the new options for everyone's personal walk. And we know for sure it's no longer just talk. Today, because of many great pioneers who paved the way for all, it's much easier to answer your call. Today, I can touch the special feeling almost everywhere I go. And it gives me great hope to know all the future leaders will be able to grow. Today, we witness a changing commonwealth as a place to soar. And the great ones I study never keep score. Today, negative pulsating press and media will carry the media's day, but it's the entrepreneurial, unbridled spirit that will pave the new way. And so I think about that in a sense of, I grew up in an era where my father was a bricklayer. He would tell me all the time, honey, create jobs. And my father lost his job at a period of time when it was tough for our family, and we adjusted. My father ended up being the apprenticeship program in Kentucky Hall of Fame, training jobs in the cities and the Appalachian Mountains. I was a vocational leader saying, we've got to create jobs. And, big corporations are great. I've been a small business owner. I've been a big owner. I've been different things in my lifetime. But it's really the entrepreneur spirit that's going to change this country. And it's so great to in Kentucky, because what you all founded here tonight, that we celebrate that. And there was a day where we didn't celebrate it. But let's make sure we celebrate it big and bold forever. Making the Commonwealth rules. Thanks so much. God bless you guys. Thank you.